Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahamba, hamba, Siahamba, hamba, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahamba. We are marching in the light of God. 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 We are marching, marching, we are marching. Marching, we are marching in the light of God. We are marching, marching, we are marching. Marching, we are marching in the light of God. Caminando en la luz de Dios. Caminando en la luz de Dios. Caminando en la luz de Dios. Caminando en la luz de Dios, caminando, vamos caminando, vamos caminando en la luz de Dios, caminando, vamos caminando, vamos caminando en la luz de Dios. Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahamba, hamba, Siahamba, hamba, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos, Siahamba, hamba, Siahamba, hamba, Siahambakukanyan kwenkos.
Good morning. Hi, y'all are lovely. It's very nice to see your faces here today and the sunshine. This is a church built on covenant, not creed. We don't have to think alike to be here in spirit alike and make efforts alike to live life with integrity and into the things that we believe, and to try to treat respectfully those with differing paths and opinions, to work for justice, to care for the earth, to care for one another. To that end, whoever you are and whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you are welcome, and we are very glad to have you. My name is Barbara. I am the minister here, believe it or not, and I still scratch my head over it. All of our staff is part-time, and a lot of this church requires the people that are part of it to participate, either with their thoughts or talents or, labor or money. And so those are things that make everybody feel more a part of the community also. And we hope that if you're here visiting or are new, that you will try to get involved in stuff that goes on around here so we can get to know you better, you can get to know us better, and we can actually have a sense of being together. It's a little hard in a room where everybody sits facing one direction and not talking to feel bonded in community. The way that we develop that is with our presence with one another when we can do that, in whatever ways we can do that. So welcome. We front load the services with a little bit of information, and I'm going to invite our treasurer, Rebecca Tuggle, up here to share some stuff with y'all. Thank you, Barbara.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to see y'all on this first Sunday of February. The volunteer of the month for February, since we're getting to that, is Bob Jordan. Bob is here today. It's probably a heck of a lot easier to say what Bob has not done for this congregation than it is to say what he does, but I'm just going to give a little brief list and not try to embarrass him too much because he's got that look on his face. Off the top of my head, he served on the board. He's a regular at the Highland Blessing Dinner, and not just our Thursdays, like most Thursdays. He's a terrific musician. He's a great appreciator of art and an artist as well, sings with the choir. He is most appreciated and most loved, and that's why he's Volunteer of the Month. We love you, Bob. I mean, a hip couldn't even slow him down. Come on. So Give Away the Plate this month is the Whitney Plantation Museum in Wallace, Louisiana. Now, normally we do try to stick to our general area of Northwest Louisiana. However, since this is Black History Month, we thought that probably the best way to honor that would be to honor the Whitney, because they are really the only former plantation in this state that actually honors those that were enslaved instead of the people that own the plantation, which is, how it usually works. Visitors to the Whitney learn about the history of slavery. They take tours, exhibits, they have memorials, they have artwork, and they suffered quite a bit of damage from Hurricane Ida. They are still recovering from that. So the money that does not go to pledge, that ends up in the baskets back there, if it's not earmarked for pledge, then it's going to the Whitney this month. So in honor of Black History Month, we dedicate that to the Whitney. Building and Grounds is going to, usually it's the second Saturday of the month, but this month it's going to be on the third Saturday of the month, so that's the 18th, and that's this month only. So please, if you would, as Barbara said, it takes those of us who are here in this community, both friends and members of this congregation, to keep this place and these grounds going. And we need all the help we can get. So if you can come out, not this Saturday, this coming Saturday, but next Saturday, that would be greatly appreciated because there's always stuff to be done both inside and outside.
I'm sorry, are we moving it next Saturday?
Yeah, we're not doing it next Saturday. We're doing it the Saturday after. Yeah, sorry. Okay. And we, not only, as Barbara was saying before, not only generosity of time, and of talents, but generosity of money, because we are still trying to get pledges in for 2023. We have pledge forms out in the foyer. Please pick one up and fill one out. It doesn't have to be a pledge. If you just want to make a one-time donation, we appreciate any and all gifts that you can make, because that's what it takes to keep this place going. Thank you very much.
Hey, good morning. My name is Susan Caldwell. I'm the Director of Religious Education here, and I just wanted to, first of all, speaking of the Highland Blessing Dinner, I want to thank Joy Walker and Sam Adams, who is not here this morning, but is maybe watching online. Thank you, Sam. The three of us, it was a very cold evening, and we did have a smaller crowd than usual, so between the three of us and the other volunteers that had shown up, we did well. As the weather gets warmer, I know we're going to need more help on that first Thursday. And so if you haven't been in a while, I really encourage you to come back to the Highland Blessing Dinner. We have returned to the original style of serving, family style at the tables. It's easy, it goes by fast. There are plenty of people there, if you haven't been before, that will show you what to do. And it starts, thank you, it starts a half an hour earlier than it used to. They eat at 5:30. We still encourage people to be there by 5 or as close to that as you can get there, because we know some people get off work right at 5, but as soon after 5 as you can get there to help with setup. They eat at 5:30, and we are way out of there by 7 because they eat between 5:30 and 6:30. So would appreciate that. And I feel like there's something else. Building and Grounds is the 18th. I think Rebecca already covered that. Oh, and I'm going to talk about this a little more in my story today, but in 2 weeks, we get to dedicate a baby, y'all. Right? Effie Violet Turner. We get to welcome her into the community. So if you're at home and you haven't been here in a while, this is the day to come and celebrate Brittany and Effie. And thanks.
I would like to make a little bit of an explanation here for why our music choices over the last 2 or 3 years have been so limited. We don't have cabaret licensing or licensing to use copyrighted material for our online services. And since we continue to be online, we have to continue to use music for which we have the rights. Unfortunately, for those who get tired of hearing the same things over and over, a good bit of that is my music. And so that's why we're using that and not a whole lot of other stuff. I don't know what to do about that at this point in our church life, but I hope that you can still relax here and enjoy everything. And I appreciate all the kind things that people say about that stuff. Before we do the chime, we're going to have a video that the largest virtual choir that we got out of the whole pandemic did. So take it away.
Here in reverence now we gather, for the blessings we have known, with a pledge to one another, that we journey not alone. Joy and sorrow make us one, into all that lives and dies. Love calls us on. Love calls us on. The words and deeds of those before us, bring them here to keep us strong. Lend our voices in the chorus of creation's every song. Our courage rises as lift our eyes upwards to the shining skies. Hope calls us on. Hope calls us on. Hope calls us on. Loyal guide to love and duty. Loyal guide with the trust to lead us. Blessed are they whose inward beauty. Blessed are they the path of true trust. The banner is their earthly honor. Honor is their work to be alone.
Part of the opening readings that are not marked on the screen over here come from Nathan Ryan. Be it real or metaphor, whatever is in your backpack or your briefcase or your purse that you've brought into this sanctuary that is weighing you down, leave it behind. Whatever you are carrying that is keeping you distracted or caught up in shame or guilt or hopelessness, leave it behind. If you need it, it will be there when you're done. But for this hour, just let it go. Come into this place with open hearts. Come into this place with a soul that has remembered how to be tender again. And come into this place with a renewed hope for the world. But come into this place ready to build a world we've always been worthy of and have always dreamed of. From Jessica Lynn, I come on Sunday feeling weary, having worn out the snooze button on the alarm clock. I come on Sunday feeling frightened, having seared my eyes reading the latest news. I come on Sunday feeling burdened, having fretted about my workday worries. But if I have been able to let myself open, I leave Sunday service feeling refreshed, having been renewed by the spirit of love and the community that exists here. I leave Sunday service feeling whole, feeling lifted up by the words of righteous challenge. I leave Sunday service feeling energized, ready to continue our fight for justice and peace. Would you join me, remain seated, in singing Spirit of Life? Would anyone like to lead the first part of our chalice lighting?
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together, with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other. Nope.
Thank you, sir. Thank you both. Symbol of light and knowledge, symbol of warmth and freedom. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith. Here we gather to celebrate hope and the infinite possibilities of love. Would you rise, please, in body or spirit, and say with me the unison affirmation as you're comfortable? Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. So remain standing, and we'll sing both. Love will, there's more love somewhere, and love will guide us, okay? We'll try to go from one to the other if I can find a guitar pick somewhere. Lovely. Okay. There's no way. Do it. Love will guide. Sorry. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more, no, somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. How about let's stop there? That was great, ladies. That really felt good. Thank you so much.
Good morning again. So I mentioned earlier, I might have mentioned that next week we get to dedicate a baby. And you know, when babies come into this world, thank you. When babies come into this world, they don't have any beliefs, right? I mean, We like to think that eventually they believe that someone will be there when they're hungry or they're cranky, need changing, whatever. And I guess you could call that a kind of belief. But really, it takes a while for beliefs to develop. As they grow, as they get older, they get ideas from all kinds of places. Like where? Where would these ideas come from? Parents. I heard parents. School. Church. And what? Systemic biases. That can happen too. That's true. We have to watch ourselves with the little ones. They can sometimes show us our own biases, huh? What else? TV. Yeah. I mean, ideas, politicians, ideas are going to come in. They're going to turn into opinions and turn into beliefs. And so you can think about your beliefs as like, they're in a bag. You have this bag of beliefs. And in some religious traditions, there are prescribed beliefs. Christians believe in Jesus. Depending on what kind of Christians they are, they may believe different things about Jesus. But there are often what are called creedal churches where they have something that they're supposed to believe in order to be a part of that church, right? Muslims believe in Allah and worship Allah and observe the 5 pillars of Islam. Buddhists follow the Eightfold Path and the teachings of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths. In this church, it's a little bit different. There are probably at least as many beliefs as there are people in this room, right? In Unitarian Universalism, it's not so much about what's in the bag as it is about how we carry it and how we hold it. And you'll find that, some people in the world will hold their beliefs like closed, like this, because they don't want to let anything new in. They think, I've got it figured out. This is all I need. Here are all of my beliefs in this bag, and I'm just going to carry it really close to me so nothing else can get in, right? And then you've got kind of other folks that are, kind of sloppy, like they might get rid of, these super water balloons, but go, ooh, I just read this on the internet. Let me put that in. It's got to be true, right? So some people you might say are maybe a little sloppy with their beliefs. They don't really take the time to think it over. And so they're going to kind of, hold their bag where, let me get that. And, well, I'm not sure I like this anymore, so, let's throw that out, whatever. As Unitarian Universalists, what we try to do is hold our bag open, right? So that when we find something of value that speaks to us, and maybe it's different from what we had before, and maybe we find we've got to leave that behind, and maybe pick up another one. But we try to always hold the bag open and to think carefully and to think about what is in integrity with our heart. And and some people can kind of use their beliefs as a club, like, I believe in peace and I'm going to hit you over the head with it. So we don't want to do that either, right? Again, we want to hold our bag open, be open to our neighbors, be open to new ideas, and keep learning, right? We're a learning congregation. We're a learning faith tradition. And we should think about what is in integrity with each one of us, what holds us to the principles and values that we say that we believe in, that we say that we espouse, and what holds us together in covenant here. So I thank you for listening, and we will sing the children and youth to their classes. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you.
Thank you, Miss Susan. In just recent weeks, I've talked about how we have heard before that in most traditions, can you kick it up just a hair, please, James? In most traditions, there is some variation of the Golden Rule that can be found in their literature. Some traditions put it more central than others. Some of them it's in peripheral writings, but in some it's dead center. Nevertheless, in most it can be found someplace. We know it as the Golden Rule basically from the Christian tradition, where we paraphrase it generally to say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But there's several places in the New Testament that things like that can be found, and there's several places in the Hebrew Testament where that can be found. It's also findable in, where's my list? Baha'i, Buddhism, Christianity, Greek philosophy, Hinduism, Islam, Jainism, Judaism, Odinani, Scientology, Sikhism, Taoism, Unitarian Universalism, Wicca, Yoruba, Zoroastrianism, and a number of indigenous cultures. And that's probably not a comprehensive list. The idea of the ethic of reciprocity, you give what you want to get out of something, has never, ever been contingent on getting that back. It's the ideal of doing what we would like others to do, trying to make that standard one that we hope the world can grow into. Now, years ago, there was a couple that were members of the church, and one of them, every time I would start talking about love and peace and justice and stuff like that, when the service was over, would say, "You old hippie." Well, I was close enough to that era that I picked up a lot of that sentiment. And those close enough to that era to pick up that sentiment from that era have gone through a lot of disillusionment with dreams about that stuff. But have those ideas just been worn out? Or are they just now getting good and broken in so that the fact that we are still growing into the capacity to understand what those terms means isn't lost on us? And that we can still have enough energy for those ideas to, in our progressing age, no matter what that happens to be, our weariness, whether it's from the pandemic or from frustration with the things we see in the world that we as yet have not been able to remedy. Are they still significant enough within us to push us out there to do something about it, even if out there doing something about it is working on ourselves? I know this is kind of a thing turning in on itself, maybe like an Escher drawing or something, but frankly, when I hit those times that those ideas, those ideals of compassion and love and justice and peace, when my sense of connection with them begins to wear thin, I do not feel qualified or adequate to stand here in front of you and say a word. Because pretty much my ties with those ideas are the only thing that I have to bring to this table. but y'all feed me. You help me find my way back to those ideals and to the energy to be involved when I get tapped out. I'll tell you with no reservation, no matter how far from seeing and feeling the light I find myself, I know it's there. My own personal experiences have told me that, so I have to live into that as the integrity that guides me. I can't give you my experiences, and I can't ask you to have the same ones. But it's moments of seeming understanding and clarity of what feels like a longer view, and the times of connected resonance with something far greater than me and more deeply interfused, that are, like I said, the only qualifications that I bring here. I've never been to seminary. I was a musician for 30 years, for crying out loud, or at least 20. So many of you are far more adept at being out there in the work of justice than I have as yet been. So many of you are far more adept at justice work, diversity training, education, and connecting, building community. Some of you have a real knack for that. I learn things from you, and I am grateful for every one of those things. But this idea of an ethic of reciprocity is the first principle of Unitarian Universalism, the inherent worth and dignity of everybody. We honor your worth, your value, our deeply held conviction that no matter how your life manifests, you are worthwhile. And that's what we walk out into the world. That's what calls us to have respect for everybody. That's what calls us to, as long as we are on this planet, continue to learn more about love. As hokey as that can sound sometimes, as worn out as that word is. I can't answer how the story will develop from here. I have no idea how many swings the pendulum will make in the existence of humankind. All I know is that it feels crucial for those who have made a swing out to what feels to me like maybe the point on the evolutionary curve where we can at least imagine universal love. I think it's crucial that we continue to show up for that in our own development and in the world around us. You know, I've talked about before how in Hinduism there's stages of life, and that when you get to a certain point, you're expected to withdraw and be the wizened people in the woods or a hermit. And I understand that there are new generations whose visions we probably can't even grasp. That doesn't mean that we need to stop singing our songs. That doesn't mean that we need to give up on the pieces of the puzzle that we bring. The puzzle may well get utterly scrambled or ditched, so another puzzle comes in and everybody has to find new pieces all over again. I can't say that won't happen. All I know is that in my lifetime, the idea of love, compassion, tolerance, trying to grow my ability to hold tension, my ability to be present with people that make me look at the places I am the least patient. To keep trying to grow is still my job. We may have to learn new tools. We may have to learn new ideas to temper, the old ones as we go along. But I want to ask you if there's anything about life or in life or existence for that matter that you trust. Is there an ideal somewhere that you absolutely believe in? And do you know how to access it in yourself so that when the darkness comes, when the weariness is pervasive and there's no way to get out from under it, you can still glimpse it and hold on to it and keep walking the walk, one step in front of the other? Can you find it? Or are you comfortable with just believing the times that we're changing never changed and I give up? I don't think that's you. I don't think there's a soul here that feels that way. So where do we go from here? I think I'll stop and have a meditation. Go ahead.
You say I've changed, maybe that's true, but I don't see no cobwebs clinging to the soles of your shoes. And I can't remember the last time I said I loved you. Are we taking for granted something that used to be new? Where do we go when love is no longer young? Where do we go from here? Saturday night doesn't hold the same attraction. Cruising alone in my car with the radio on. And there's nothing like pride to keep two people from talking, reaching across the great lover's divide. Where do we go when love is no longer young, where do we go from here? Oh, 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 You say I've changed, maybe that's true, or just taken for granted something that used to be. Now as we lay dreaming, I reached out to hold you. Maybe some things are harder to say, but easy to do. Where do we go when love is no longer young? Where do we go from here? Where do we go when love is no longer young? Where do we go from here?
I've been taking a songwriting workshop for 5 weeks, and it has been a real gift for me. We've got one more week to go, and we have had a topic each week to write about. I've shared that before. And over the course of this first 5 weeks, I've written 7 songs, and I like 3 of them. And there's more to come. But it's reconnecting me with a sense of me that I have been out of touch with for a while. That's really important for me. And I want to encourage you, if you've been feeling a lack of vitality or disjointed at all from your own spirit, to revisit some things that have made you happy before and see if there might be some new life in there for you. When I open to the art or work that is my calling, I slowly see my siblings, my parents, myself, and my neighbor more clearly. Then I find this quote from Frederick Buechner to have particular power for me. From the simplest lyric to the most complex novel, literature is asking us to pay attention. Pay attention to the frog. Pay attention to the west wind. Pay attention to the boy on the raft the lady on the tower, the man on the train. In sum, pay attention to the world and all that dwells therein, and thereby learn at last to pay attention to yourself and all that dwells within. Finding those things that feed us is important. And in them, someplace is a gift that we are intended to share by the universe, by the very fact that it gives us vitality and stamina that we don't find other places, so that it feeds us to do the work we believe in and live into the callings that we are. There are two short readings I would like to share with you before we get to our closing hymn. One is from John Lennon. There are two basic motivating forces, fear and love. When we are afraid, we pull back from life. When we're in love, we open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. We need to learn to love ourselves first in all our glory and all our imperfections. And if we cannot love ourselves, we cannot fully open to our ability to love others or our potential to create. Evolution and all hopes for a better world rest in the fearlessness and open-hearted vision of people who embrace life, and I think fall in love with life. I don't know if I've really done that yet, but I can feel it. And I'm thinking at my age, that's kind of a cool thing. The other quote is from a one-time presidential candidate, Marianne Williamson. She said, "Love is what we were born with." Miss Susan was talking about that in her story. "Fear is what we have learned here." That's what Miss Susan was talking about in her Time for All Ages. "The spiritual journey is the relinquishment or unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts, finding ways to get past all the walls and filters and veils and judgmental pieces of ourselves back to the open innocence that is our birthright." That was me, sorry. Back into acceptance of love back into our hearts. Love is the essential existential fact. It is our ultimate reality and our purpose on earth. To be consciously aware of it, to experience love in ourselves and others, is the meaning of life. I don't know if you still believe that. I don't know if you just kind of believe it, yeah, I think that's true. Or if it still has feeling for you when we say our unison affirmation. Do those words sing to you, or are they just words? Can we open enough to bring ourselves back to the vitality of those words? I think that's where we need to go. And all the rest will just be lagniappe. and hard work. Frederick Buechner also said, "Here is the world. Beautiful and terrible things will happen. Don't be afraid." Our closing hymn that I will try to do justice with you is Imagine. If you will rise in body or spirit. Imagine there's no hell. It's easy to try. No hell below us only sky. From another Unitarian Universalist minister, Tom Shade, "There is a power at work in the universe that works through human hands, but was not made by human hands. It is creative, sustaining, transforming power, and we can trust that power with our lives. It will sustain us whenever we take a stand on the side of love, whenever we take a stand for justice and peace, whenever we take a risk, trust in that power, we are together held by it. From Eric Williams, blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that hears the call. Blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift that you will receive by going. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. And from Cynthia Landrum, we leave this gathering community, but we don't leave our connection. Our concerns, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues until we are together again, friends. Be strong, be well, be true, be loving, and may you go forth in peace. No. Oh, we didn't go get, oh, there you are. Scrunch together. Here we go. Okay. Go ahead.
Lifted up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
Lifted up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
Lifted up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
He's based on the Course in Miracles. Yeah. Good little book.
Here in reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey not alone. Joy and sorrow make us one, kin to all that lives and dies. Love calls us home. Love calls us home. The words and deeds of those before us, bring you here to keep us strong. Hallelujah.